Hi, my name is Stephanie Robbins, and I am the president and CEO of Robbins Plumbing. And today I want to talk to you about why you might be plunging your toilet all of the time. So first, I'd like to mention you shouldn't have to plunge your toilet. That isn't normal. If you're having to plunge your toilet, it's an indication or a symptom that something is wrong. So if it's something you're doing chronically, by chronically, I mean more than once a month, but even then, I don't own a plunger because it's not supposed to be a problem. So if you're constantly plunging your toilet, here is a list of a few reasons that might be causing that. The first reason is that you have a stoppage. So if you are plunging your toilet and ultimately you're just using pressure and pushing past something. You're pushing past some kind of stoppage that's in the line, and you think you're clearing it because the toilet flushes, but the obstruction is still there. And it is either blocking the trapway in the toilet, it's blocking the flange, it's a further down the line, but you have a stoppage, and you're not typically going to clear a stoppage with a plunger. That often requires putting a cable down the line. So that is certainly one of the causes of having to plunge your toilet all the time, especially if you have a quality toilet, that kind of thing. It's definitely the first thing that we're looking for. If someone calls us and says, hey, my toilet is backed up, we ask, how often are you having to plunge it? Okay, let's check. Let's see if you have a stoppage, and problem solved. Another thing that it could be, and part of our diagnostic process, is your toilet needs to be repaired. So faulty parts or old parts inside your toilet tank can lead to an inefficient flush. So it doesn't have the same oomph, is the best way that I can put that. So it doesn't have the same flush and push going through. So what used to flush well doesn't flush well anymore. So you're constantly having to help the toilet do its job by plunging it. So you want to certainly make sure that the parts that are inside your tank are not old, they're not faulty, the chain's set right, the flapper's working correctly, it's filled to the right level. All of those good things really contribute to a proper flush on your toilet. Something else that it could be, but is more rare, is you could have a blocked vent. Your sewer system has vents, and that's the pipe that you see coming out of your roof, and those vents act like straws. So think of every time that you put liquid in a straw and you hold your finger over the top, the liquid can't escape. Well, the same thing is true of your vents. It allows airflow that allows things to flush through, water to move rather than stay still. So if you have an obstruction in your vent, then it is going to reduce the capacity that your toilet has to flush. And a slight blockage can make a big difference. And things that can typically block up a vent is oftentimes it's birds. They'll build a nest at the top, that kind of thing. So that can be part of the problem. It's not very often, but it can certainly add to that list of things that you need to check. Hey, I'm constantly having to plunge my toilet. The most common cause of toilet stoppages, it's simply misuse. We have a great blog and video on the things you should not flush down your toilet, but misuse is the absolute most common theme that we see when someone's having to plunge their toilet, is they're flushing things that they shouldn't be flushing. Well, it says flushable, it says, whatever. And just because it says flushable doesn't mean you should be flushing it. So flushable wipes, for example, or feminine products is one of the most common things that we see. And just because it's flushable through that toilet doesn't mean when it hits your drain system that your drain system is in good enough shape to handle that. So it sticks to your drain system, it catches, it builds up, and you're going to have constant problems and constantly need to plunge your toilet. And then again, it leads back to that stoppage issue that we listed on number 1. And it could be avoided by not misusing it. So you really want to be mindful of what you're putting down your toilet, especially on a septic system. But you want to make sure that it is, not feminine products. It's not flushable wipes. Rule of thumb: if this, whatever you're flushing, won't dissolve, swirling it in a mason jar of water within 30 seconds, you shouldn't flush it. You should dispose of it. The other thing that it can be Bad Stephanie. Bad Stephanie. The other thing that it can be is ultimately that you need a new toilet. And that you could have a new toilet and still need a new toilet just because it was cheaply or poorly designed. And as toilets have had to meet the energy guidelines and things like that, we went from 3-gallon flushes to now you're seeing 1-gallon flushes, dual buttons, all of that kind of stuff. But they really do need to be built with quality, with a lot of engineering and science behind them to have a solid flush. So if you have a new toilet that you're constantly having to plunge and it wasn't a stoppage, you're not misusing it, and there's not an issue with your vent, you could just have a toilet that needs to be replaced because it is poor quality. And the other thing it could be is simply age. And what ages a toilet isn't actually years as much as it is water quality. So your toilet is subjected to the water that's affecting it, right? So if you have hard water, that kind of thing, it reduces its capacity to flush drastically with mineral buildup as that water goes from the tank and it goes through the ports. Those ports reduce and reduce and reduce in volume, reducing that swirl. So if your toilet's constantly needing to be plunged and you see the toilet water rising before it settles, that is a real big indicator that your toilet needs to be replaced, whether that's due to poor quality or due to age. And when we, go through this diagnostic process with our clients, we always want to fix the water that broke it. So if it is something where it's a water quality issue, we want to fix that too. So you're not, every 2 years having to buy a new toilet. That's not fun. Trust me, it's not fun. So if you're constantly having to plunge your toilet, it's not normal. We want to make sure that you fix that because no one wants to plunge their toilet. Well, I at least hope no one wants to plunge their toilet. So we want to make sure you don't have a stoppage. We want to make sure your vent is clear of any obstructions, that your toilet tank doesn't need to be rebuilt, or that your toilet itself doesn't need to be replaced. And of course, check out our list of the things you shouldn't be flushing, because maybe it's just something as simple as that. And of course, there's always our children. So be mindful of your children around your toilet. Everyone's like, oh, I need to protect my children from my plumbing. No. You need to protect your plumbing from your children. Trust me on that. They be flushing Barbie doll heads, the toilet paper holder, little cars, the works. And people think they're going to protect their toilet from their children by putting those little locks down that hold the toilet lid down. Your child's smarter than that. They flush that too. So protect your plumbing from your children is that last pro tip to make sure that your toilet is flushing correctly. And if you are having problems with your toilet, you are having to plunge it, reach out to the local professional that you trust that's licensed, bonded, and insured. And of course, if you're in the Phoenix area, in the metropolitan here, you can reach out to us at 623-486-4657. Of course, also on our website at robinsplumbing.com.